Here in Zaragoza, in northeastern Spain. And as you can see on your screen, we have the Academy Final, the first round for 2015. They are on the circuit, I might say quite nervously, in fact. They have their 15-lap, 25-kilometre final coming your way in just a few moments. All these drivers in identical Paralin karts. And isn't that ironic? Because we've just seen Francesco Celenta win the KZ2 final in a Paralin gearbox chassis. All these drivers in the Paralin identical karts. Identical FIM 125cc engines also. This is their first round. Drivers aged between 12 and 15 years of age. We mentioned it in our pre-final, but it's approximately equivalent to a UEFA Junior Under-16 football championship, if you like. Everyone on identical equipment. It's all about finding talent. We look back to 2014, last year's winner, the Dutchman, Richard Verschoor, now racing at the European KF Championships for the RB racing team. Few drivers competing here this afternoon. Also, already competing in the KF European Championships, the open class, I should say. But this is the Academy Final, where drivers are taught not only racing, but how to conduct themselves in the world of motorsport, dealing with the media, dealing with teams, preparing for a career ahead, either as a professional kart racing driver, or if they choose, perhaps they'll go and do something different. But a great schooling for these young drivers. They have come from all around the world, and I mean that in a very literal sense. Some of the names, some of the countries we'll mention, you wouldn't think they have kart racing, but be assured they do. I'm not just talking about the European mainstay countries. We know there's drivers from the likes of this very country here, where we're based this weekend in Spain, Italy, Belgium, France, and the like. Then we go over to South America, Brazil, Venezuela. How about the drivers from Japan? Yes, there's a couple from the land of the rising sun. Ido Cohen comes from Israel. Ilya Zamula is from Ukraine. Countries represented here, including the likes of Mozambique in southern Africa. Got Mert Dalkirian from Turkey. The South African, Stuart White. Royce Yu from Hong Kong. Hi to our friends racing the first round of the Hong Kong Championship earlier today. In the pouring rain, I understand, in fact. So a very, very international field. The drivers do not own these karts. They are leased for the weekend. They are identical. They can change aspects such as tyre pressures, track length and width. But in terms of gaining a mechanical advantage, not only is it not allowed, but it's just not possible. We look at Javier Roveres, the Spanish driver, who is also racing the European KF Junior Championships for the Zanardi kart team. He starts on the front row of the grid. The Spaniard on his home turf, home bitumen, I should say. Alfie Brown, the Brit, to the left of your screen, is on pole position. Still just a few minutes away from firing into life. There is Alfie. You see the denomination Paralin, FIM, and all these drivers on Bridgestone tyres. To say these drivers are nervous is an understatement. It's Callum Bradshaw, grid number 4. Got 2 Spaniards and 2 Brits on the front 2 rows of the grid. There is Marta Garcia Lopez. Don't discount her winning this outright this afternoon. She starts out at grid number 3. She's already been on the podium in the WSK Supermaster Series earlier in the year, and that was in the outright KF Junior class. where she races an Alonso chassis. Glenn van Berlo from the Netherlands is on the 8th row of the grid. The Dutchman was pretty quick in practice and in qualifying indeed. Glenn starts along Royce Yu from Hong Kong, who we just mentioned. Murilo della Coletta from Sao Paulo in Brazil. On the 6th row of the grid. Chen Yun Lee from Seoul in South Korea, alongside the Dane Emil Larsen. The Lebanese driver, Rubens Bachupke, the 13th row of the grid, alongside the fastest qualifier, the Frenchman, Theo Nouet, 25th and 26th of the grid. We had 50 drivers start the event this weekend. We are down to the final 34. In a few moments' time, these push button tag engines will fire into life. And we will be underway with the first round of the Academy Trophy for 2015. From here, the series moves to Genk in Belgium, where it will also race alongside the KZ and KZ2 gearbox classes as the engines fire into life. The third and final round concluding at Le Mans in France, September 13. That event, that's the big one. The KZ and KZ2 World Championship, September 13 of this year. As we look at the grid, Alfie Brown alongside Javier Loveres, Marta Garcia, Callum Bradshaw, Zaha Slutsky, Stuart White, Hugo Di Vilde, Alejandro Lajos Lopez, Fatel Feril Pratama from Indonesia, a burgeoning karting nation. We look down to Ido Cohen, grid number 18, alongside the Ukrainian Ilya Zamula. Aruga Tomita out of grid number 30, but Auriga did win a heat race earlier in the weekend. Michael Santos back in the grid. Also another driver to look out for. Anyone who has qualified for the final is a possibility to take a win here this weekend. Of course, Michael Santos, he's come from the Dominican Republic to race here in Spain this weekend. Well, the field looked pretty good. They will be in the hands of our race director, Mr. Nigel Edwards, as they round this next and final turn. They are anxious and very, very nervous, these kids. For the first time in 2015, we go racing. Off the line, Alfie Brown rocks into the lead. Looks like Marta Garcia got a good start up the inside. Callum Bradshaw also up there. There goes Stuart White through. Xavier Loverez has made not a good start at all. The Spanish driver who started on the front row of the grid, there you can see Javier is back in position number 5. The field thankfully have got through the first couple of turns without incident. Up the furthest point of the circuit for the first time. This 15-lap final. 25 kilometres of this Zuera circuit. Javier Loveres, not the best start. Alfie Brown, you saw when the lights went out. Oh, we've got one spinning. Is that Loveres? Just talking about Alfie Brown, when the lights went out, made a great start, but it's actually Callum Bradshaw who we saw spin. Marta Garcia is actually your race leader. Now the field starts to come alive. Alfie Brown back into second spot. Then it's Zaha Slutsky in the white helmet. Fadil Pratama, the Indonesian that we spoke about briefly, up into fourth spot, but has been dropped back to fifth. because Javier Loverez in the orange helmet, the Spaniard, has got past Pratama. Hugo de Vilde, great start by Della, the Brazilian, up into position number 7. Stuart White, the South African, is down in position number 10. Not the best start for the driver from Joburg. There goes Stuart, as we concentrate on the battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th. Callum Bradshaw, we saw coming onto the straight for the first time, left rear Bridgestone tyre in the dirt, and Callum went around and is now way down at the back of the field. Across the line for the second time, your race leader, Marta Garcia. Javier Loverez goes through on Pratama, who did briefly get up into position number 3. Stuart White starting to fight back through the field. Oh, a big hit there. I think that was White, in fact. We just spoke about Stuart White setting the fastest lap of the race. And then had a big coming together with either Royce Yu from Hong Kong or Alejandro Lajoz Lopez. The race continues on under the guidance, the direction of our race director, Mr. Joel Blanc. I'll correct myself. Of course, Nigel Edwards is the race director for the KZ classes. But Mr. Joel Blanc is the race director for the Academy Trophy here for 2015 as Marta Garcia extends her lead. Zaha Slutsky now in second spot from Alfie Brown. Javier Loverez in position number 4. Murillo della Coletta. Brilliant start by the Brazilian. Coming from grid number 12, the driver from Sao Paulo is now up into 5th. Head of Fadil Pratama, Hugo de Vilde. Stuart White in 8th, head of Alfred Nielsen. And the Hong Kong driver, Royce Yu, rounding out the 10. There's 3rd, 4th and 5th. Brown, Loverez, Della Coletta. Then a little bit of a gap back to Fadil Pratama. Hugo de Vilde also completing in the European KF Junior Championships. Loverez goes through in 4th. Then it's Della Coletta. Royce Yu now up into 7th spot behind Fadil Pratama. Then a big battle back, including Alfred Nielsen, Stuart White, Alejandro Lajoz Lopez, Ilya Zamula, the Ukrainian driver. And then in 13th place from Arizona in the United States, Jagger Jones heads Glenn Van Berlo. Ido Cohen rounds out the top 15 as we approach 1/3 race distance here on the plains of Zaragoza. The city of Zaragoza in the background behind those hills in the far distance. Loverez goes through ahead of Della Coletta. Of course, the two boys, the two twins from Sao Paulo, Brazil, Murillo and Marcel Della Coletta. Across the line one more time. The lead for Marta Garcia is now 0.8 of a second. Fastest lap of the race so far is Alfie Brown, the driver from the United Kingdom. Royce Yu from Hong Kong up into position number 6. Fastest qualifier, the Frenchman Theo Nouet, is down in 22nd behind Aruga Tomita, the Japanese, who, as we mentioned, did win a heat yesterday. But Aruga has 20 drivers in front of him, starting with the Norwegian Emil Heyerdahl. The young girl from Japan, you can find her on her own Facebook fan page, Shion Tsuchimoto. She's down in position number 26, head of the other Asian driver, Chen Yung Lee. See at the bottom of your screen, Callum Bradshaw, after being in the top 4, had that big moment on the opening lap of the race, and unfortunately Callum is out. As we approach half race distance, that's the gap back between 5th and 6th spot. Della, and then a big gap back to Royce Yu from Hong Kong. Alfred Nielsen from grid 19 is now up into 7th. So we've got a change for 2nd place. Alfie Brown and Zaha Slutsky, they exchange positions. The gap from your leader, Marta Garcia, to these two drivers on screen is 0.9 of a second. And with that passing move, we can expect that to be even further when they come across the line next time round. Marta Garcia, very experienced. As we mentioned, she races an Alonso kart in the European KF Junior Championships. This is her 2nd year in the Academy Trophy. Alfie Brown in 2nd spot. The gap is now 1.2 seconds from this girl, Marta Garcia Lopez. This is a brilliant initiative instigated by the CIK in conjunction with the FIA. The CIK FIA Academy Trophy did start all the way back in 2010. Some big names have come through this series. They've made a start in their European karting career. Of course, we mentioned Richard Verschoor, a race winner in WSK, now with the RB racing team. As Alfie Brown goes through, that Paralink kart working quite nicely. You can see the Bridgestone inside rear tyre lifting quite nicely. The gap between Brown and Garcia last time round was 1.2 seconds. The gap is now 1.3 seconds. Marta Garcia, she won the FIA Women in Motorsport Award in January of this year. She's on her way to taking a very big win here this afternoon. She looks over her shoulder, only to find the Englishman, Alfie Brown, Zaha Slutsky, another Spaniard, Xavier Loverez, Murillo de la Coleta. Then it's Royce Yu, Alfred Nielsen, Alejandro Lajoz Lopez, also racing the KF Junior European Champs, Hugo de Wilde from Belgium, and the Indonesian driver, Fadil Pratama, rounding out the top 10. Stuart White, the South African, just on the edge of the top 10 in 11th, ahead of Ilya Zamula. As Alfie Brown desperately tries to hunt down your race leader, Marta Garcia Lopez. We are past half race distance. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Brown, Slutsky, Loverez, De La Coleta. Then we go all the way back to Royce Yu, Alfred Nielsen, the Swede. Marta Garcia has driven a faultless race. Fastest lap, though, has gone to Murillo de la Coleta. In position number 5 there, as Loverez has a look at the inside of Slutsky. Can't quite do it. You can pick out Loverez, has the bright orange helmet. As Stuart White makes a move past Pratima and De Wilde. Takes 2 karts to move back into the top 10. Michael Santos, all the way from the Dominican Republic, not having the best run, but still out there circulating. 1 ahead of the Japanese driver, Aruga Tomita, fighting for 30th position. We've only had the 2 retirements, the 2 English-speaking drivers, in fact. We lost Callum Bradshaw on the opening lap of the race. And unfortunately, Jagger Jones, the grandson of the 1963 Indy 500 winner, Parnelli Jones. Unfortunately, Jagger is out after having pretty good pace here this weekend. We hope to see Jagger back racing for the second and third rounds of the Academy Trophy. Of course, Jagger, winner in Las Vegas a year ago, also raced the Vortex Mini Rock Final in Garda, so it's not his first experience racing in Europe. As we watch the battle for third, this is Slutsky Loverez. Della Coletta, who just set the fastest lap of the race a few moments ago. The Brazilian trying to get up on the podium. Sits in behind Loverez. This is the final corner of the circuit with 4 laps to go. 5:14 is Della Coletta. There goes Marta Garcia at the bottom of your screen. She flashes by. Loverez up the inside. Surely the Spaniard can do it under brakes. Oh no, Slutsky shuts the door. So Loverez tries the outside line. Still, the Spaniard cannot get past the Russian as the Brazilian Della Coletta watches on. Murillo Della Coletta looks behind. There's no one behind you, Murillo. That leaves the door open for you to make a challenge to get up on the podium, which is currently occupied by Zahar Slutsky. Normally we see Zahar competing alongside his twin brother Artem for the Danilo Rossi kart team. They're getting very, very close to touching. Loverez up the inside, all over the back of the Russian with 3.5 laps to go. This is brilliant racing. Oh, nicely done. Loverez drops through on the inside. Slutsky responds, and Della Coletta says, hey, I'll have a piece of this. Now the Brazilian is up into position number 4 and almost goes up into third, but drops back to 5th because now Loverez has made it a Spanish 1 and 3. They've left it till the final laps of the race, 2.5 remaining. Loverez, Della Coletta, Slutsky. Loverez now back into position number 5. Your race leader, Marta Garcia, put the glasses down. She's got 2 seconds over Alfie Brown. Slutsky. Della Coletta. Loverez, the bright orange helmet just puts a Bridgestone tyre a little bit wide. You saw the dust fly up. He knows he made an error there because he put his head down behind the steering wheel, even on that short straight, desperate to try and cover that fraction of a tenth of a second that he lost. In fact, Loverez has lost quite a bit of time in the last part of that lap. Marta Garcia extends her lead over Alfie Brown to 2.2 seconds. Slutsky in third from Della Coletta. Murillo from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Racing here alongside his twin brother Marcel, who unfortunately didn't qualify for this final. Such was the level of competition. So 1 out of 2 twin brothers from South America ain't half bad. With 1.5 laps to go, it is Garcia from Brown. Then this battle involving Slutsky, Della Coletta and Loverez. Glenn Van Berlo is the last driver in the top 10. The Dutchman sits in 10th, just behind the South African Stuart White. Alfie Brown goes through. This is the final lap of the race. I suspect something's going to happen here. I don't think they're going to finish in this order in 1.7 K's time. Loverez up the inside as we watch Marta Garcia. This is the battle for the final step of the podium. Slutsky, Loverez, very close to the back of the Russian. Alfie Brown, the Brit, is safe in position number 2. Marta Garcia, she's feeling the fatigue out there, although she is very, very fit. Can just see her working the wheel. She's driven superbly. Marta Garcia Lopez from Spain, in Spain, on her final lap. On her way to winning the FIA CIK Academy Trophy Round 1 here in Zuera. The final corner is coming up. She will do it. She's beaten the boys. Marta Garcia takes the checkered flag to win the first round of the CIK Academy Trophy. Alfie Brown across the line in second spot. Let's see who can hold on to third. It is indeed the Russian Zartem Slutsky. Javier Loveres from Spain was fourth, ahead of Morillo della. Well done, Royce Yu. Grid 15 to finish sixth. Great drive by Alfred Nielsen, the Swede. Came from grid 19 to seventh. Alejandro Lajoz Lopez was eighth, ahead of Stuart White and Glenn Van Berlo to round out the 10. A faultless drive, though, by Marta Garcia on her home circuit. She will be delighted in front of her family and home fans here in Zuera, Spain. She will stand on the top step of the podium. We look at the results. Marta Garcia Lopez. Alfie Brown takes second. Zartem Slutsky, the bottom step of the podium for the Russian. Then it was Loveres, Della Coletta, Royce Yu, Alfred Nielsen, Lajoz Lopez, Stuart White and Glenn Van Berlo rounding out the top 10. That indeed was a fantastic start. We couldn't have wished for better, especially for some pretty nervous parents out there for the first round of the CIK Academy Trophy here in Zuera, Spain. Take nothing away from your winner, Marta Garcia. She's won it. She's beaten the boys. Alfie Brown was second, ahead of Zaha Slutsky, who will take the bottom step of the podium. Stay with us on CIKFIA.tv. The podium presentation for CIK Academy Trophy coming your way in just a few moments. Alfie Brown off the start. Of course, Callum Bradshaw was involved until the end of the first lap. Marta Garcia second at this stage before moving into the lead. Quite surprisingly, given the incidents in the heats, the field did spread out. It was a great battle for second, third and fourth. Alfie Brown going on to finish second. There's Javier Lovere. Marta Garcia, the number 550 Paralympic car. She would go on to win by nearly 3 seconds at the race end. We lost Callum Bradshaw earlier. This was a great fight for the bottom step of the podium. Loveres, Della Coletta and the Russian Slutsky. They did not touch. It was brilliant, clean racing. That's the ideal. That's the goal and objective of the CIK Academy Trophy. Great racing on this 1.7 kilometre circuit. They were 3 wide into turn 1. That's when Loveres went from 5th up into 3rd, but couldn't quite hold on. Zaha Slutsky, the Russian, taking the bottom step of the podium on the final lap. Great dicing all through the field, but Marta Garcia on her home circuit, she took the win. She beat the boys. Alfie Brown was second and Zaha Slutsky was third. Stay with us. The podium presentation in just a few moments right here from Zuera on CIKFIA.tv. We'll get underway with the podium presentation for the CIK Academy Trophy. Let's welcome to third place on the podium from Russia, Zaha Slutsky. Second from the United Kingdom, Alfie Brown. From Spain, your winner, Marta Garcia! We now stand by for the national anthem of Spain. The first round of the CIK Academy Trophy for 2015 to present the third place driver, Mr. Jorge Vecino from the Circuito Internazionale de Zuera. To present the second place trophy to Alfie Brown, Mr. Giovanni Ramos Guerra, from the president of the FAEM Brazilian Kart Federation. And Mr. Angel Etegoyen to present the winning trophy to Marta Garcia. The girls to present the flowers. We'll just move in for a quick word with our podium here. In third place, Zaha Slutsky. A little bit different to racing KFJ, but a great result.
It was a very difficult race, but I'm very happy to be third.
Well done, Zaha. All the way from Russia, all the way from Great Britain in second place. Alfie Brown on the podium. Congratulations.
Thank you. The race, it was a bit straightforward. I got set back, but I kept my head and just carried on from there.
Well done, Alfie. Marta Garcia, we are in Spain. You are from Spain. You've won. Congratulations. How do you feel?
Thank you. I feel so happy because it's my first race that I win in the international, and I'm so happy.
Well done, Marta. On behalf of everyone here, a big round of applause for our podium, the first round of the CIK Academy Trophy for 2015.